This entire business runs on 3 sentences. That's it. 3 sentences that generate $10,842 a month. This isn't some massive app built by a team of engineers. It's a simple, targeted tool built by one person, with no code, using a method I call vibe coding. The rules for who gets to build a real business have been completely rewritten. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you the 3-step framework that non-technical founders are using to build these kinds of real, profitable products. I'll even show you the exact 3-sentence prompt that can build an entire application. But first, you have to understand the number 1 mistake that stops people cold. Stay with me until the end, and I'll give you a one-night homework assignment that could define your next year. The market for these low-code tools is absolutely exploding, projected to hit $187 billion by 2030. This isn't a fringe movement. Gartner predicts that by 2026, 70% of all new applications will be built this way. This isn't the future, this is the present rolling over anyone who isn't paying attention. So why are 99% of people trying to make money with AI without coding completely failing? It's because they're building vitamins, not painkillers. A vitamin is a nice to have. It's a cool little tool, a fun feature. A painkiller solves an urgent, expensive, or high-risk problem that a specific person would gladly pay to make disappear. Before you ever touch an AI, before you write a single prompt, you have to ask yourself this one question. Does my idea save someone a lot of time, make them a lot of money, or reduce a major risk? If the answer isn't a clear yes, it's a vitamin. Stop. Find a real painkiller first. That's your first and most important filter. But finding a painkiller is only the first step. And if you get the next part wrong, it can feel even worse than having a bad idea. I know, because my first painkiller almost made me quit for good. I had my painkiller idea, and I was absolutely sure it was a winner. It was one of those concepts that feels so obvious once you see it, you can't believe no one has built it yet. The excitement is a rush. You feel like you're sitting on a winning lottery ticket, and the only thing between you and cashing it in is telling the AI what to build. So, filled with that dangerous, unfiltered optimism, I jumped straight into the tools. I opened up an early version of a tool like ChatGPT or Claude, and I gave it the grand vision. My prompt was something like, build an all-in-one platform for small business owners. It needs to have invoicing, project management, CRM capabilities, and some marketing automation. I was describing a company, not a product. I was giving the AI a vague vibe, a dream, and expecting it to come back with a polished money-making machine. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever done this? Type vague if you've ever given an AI a huge dreamy prompt, or specific if you're a natural-born prompter. And what I got back was a Frankenstein's monster. It was a stitched-together mess of code that technically was what I asked for, but was completely unusable. A login page that connected to a database that didn't exist. A dashboard with 3 different design styles that clashed horribly. An invoicing feature that couldn't calculate tax. It was slow, it was buggy, and worst of all, it had no soul. I burned through over $300 in API credits and a month of my life just to arrive at a digital pile of junk that made me want to quit entirely. That feeling was crushing. It was the moment my dream of building a business without code met the harsh reality of building a product. I felt like a fraud. I thought the AI was overhyped, or that I just didn't have the knack for it. I was convinced I had failed, and this is where I almost stopped. I almost concluded that you really do need to be a technical genius to make this work. But the mistake wasn't the AI. The mistake was how I was talking to it. The realization that changed everything for me was this. The AI isn't my co-founder. It isn't the CEO who figures out the strategy. It's a hyper-competent intern. It's the most brilliant, fastest coder on the planet, but it'll do exactly what you tell it to do, even if your instructions are terrible. I was asking it to be the CEO. Its job is to be the coder. My failure wasn't technical, it was a failure of translation. And this failure of translation isn't just a feeling non-coders have, it's the single biggest bottleneck in the entire industry. A 2026 report from DreamX found that professional developers using AI coding assistants are 55% faster. But that speed only comes when they're given crystal clear, specific, and well-defined goals. The old programming mantra has never been more true. Garbage in, garbage out. The problem is that non-technical founders don't know how to give good instructions. They don't know how to provide clean, structured input to get a clean, structured output. That failure, that wasted month and $300 forced me to create a system. A simple, repeatable way to translate my industry knowledge, my unique expertise, into a blueprint the AI could actually understand and build. It's a 3-sentence prompt that changed everything. The key to how to make money with AI without coding isn't about knowing which AI is smartest or which new feature was just released. It's about the prompt, your specific hard-won industry knowledge, the stuff you know from a decade of doing your job, is now the single most valuable asset you have. The AI has commoditized the ability to write code, which means your ability to tell it what to code is the new unfair advantage. So how do you package years of experience into a single clean instruction that a machine can execute? You can't just give it a vibe. You can't just tell it your life story. You need a structure, a container that forces clarity. This is the system that came out of that failed first attempt. It's called the 3-sentence prompt formula, and it's the entire brief for your first product. What's the biggest roadblock you've hit when trying to get a useful result from an AI? Is it the idea, the prompt, or the tech itself? Let me know in the comments. The first sentence defines the who. You state, this is a tool for a specific niche, not small businesses, not entrepreneurs. You say, this is a tool for independent real estate agents in California. Or, this is a tool for Shopify store owners who sell physical goods. The more specific your who, the clearer the problem becomes. The second sentence identifies the pain. You state, it solves the pain of a specific costly problem. Remember the Painkiller? This is where you name it. It solves the pain of spending hours drafting legally compliant property description reports. Or, it solves the pain of manually calculating international shipping costs and generating customs forms. You're not describing a feature. You're describing the expensive headache your tool will cure. The third sentence lists the core features. You state, the 3 core features are Feature 1, Feature 2, and Feature 3. And you stop at 3. This is the hardest part. It forces you to be ruthless. What is the absolute minimum required to solve the pain for the who? Anything else is a distraction. Let's build a $10,000 a month business idea right now using this formula. I'd open up a tool like Notion AI just to brainstorm and refine the language. First, the who. This is a tool for independent real estate agents. Next, the pain. It helps them draft compliant property description reports in minutes instead of hours, reducing legal risk. Then, the 3 core features. The core features are 1. A simple web form to input property details. 2. An AI-powered text generator that creates the report based on those details. And 3. The ability to export the final report as a branded PDF. That's it. That's the entire product brief. It's clear, it's specific, and it's buildable. You've defined the customer, the value proposition, and the exact scope of the minimum viable product. An AI can take this instruction and start generating the actual code and architecture because there's zero ambiguity. Now that you've seen the formula, what's one industry you think is totally unprepared for this? I'm curious what you see. Drop your prediction in the comments. This structure works for any industry, from dentistry to dog walking. To prove it, I've put together a 1-page worksheet with 10 more real-world examples of this prompt formula, broken down for different businesses you could start tonight. It's completely free, and the link is in the description. This skill of translation is precisely what the market is screaming for. People think the value is in the AI itself, but they're wrong. The value is in the person who can guide the AI. Forbes predicts that the time it takes to hire developers who can do this is expected to double. Why? Because translating human expertise into a machine executable instruction is the new critical technical skill. You're not learning to code, you're learning to direct a team of infinite coders. So now you have the blueprint, a perfect 3-sentence prompt. A prompt doesn't pay the bills. It's just a ghost in the machine until you give it a body. That next step, turning the prompt into profit, is what separates the hobbyists from the businesses that actually make money. And it's simpler than you think. Once your 3-sentence prompt is locked, your job title changes. You're no longer the ideas person. You're the project manager, you're the orchestrator. Your job isn't to code, it's to assemble your AI-powered business from a few powerful off-the-shelf components. The workflow is straightforward. First, you take that perfect prompt and feed it into the brain of your operation, an advanced model like Claude Sonnet 4.6 or Google's Gemini 3.1 Pro. This is where the heavy lifting happens. The AI takes your blueprint and generates the core logic, the database structure, and the front-end code for your application. This is the engine. Next, you use a simple no-code platform to host the user interface, the face of your product where customers will interact with it. This is the point where most people get stuck. They have an engine and a face, but they're not connected. How do you take payments? How do you send a welcome email? How do all these separate tools talk to each other? Do you have to hire an expensive developer to write custom integrations? No. You use a tool like Zapier. This is what lets you build a real business with the complexity of connecting Lego bricks. Your AI builds the brain, the no-code tool builds the body, and Zapier connects the brain to the hands and feet. When a new user signs up, Zapier tells Stripe to process their payment. When their payment goes through, Zapier tells Gmail to send them a welcome email. When they submit a form in your app, Zapier can add their data to a Google Sheet. This is the glue. This is the system that makes a prompt into a living, breathing business that can run while you sleep. This isn't a theory. One anonymous developer on Medium, writing under the name Solo Developer, documented their entire journey of starting a no-code development business. They used a single platform to build simple apps for small businesses that couldn't afford a traditional six-figure development project. The results? In their first year, they generated $127,000 in revenue with only $8,000 in expenses. That's a 94% profit margin. That's not a side hustle. That's a real business built on solving specific pains for specific people. And if you think that's a one-off, look at the extreme end of this movement. Look at Peter Levels. He's a solo founder, famously not a traditional coder, who built Nomad List, a resource for digital nomads that now generates over $1 million a year. It started with a simple script and a Google Sheet. He didn't build a massive venture-backed platform. He found a painkiller problem for a very specific niche and solved it with the simplest tools available. If you're getting value from these kinds of breakdowns and want to see more deep dives on turning your expertise into products, hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started. These stories are the proof. This is the citizen developer revolution in action. According to Kissflow, by 2026, developers outside of formal IT departments will account for at least 80% of the user base for these low-code tools. This isn't just about making tech more accessible, it's a fundamental shift in who gets to build. The gatekeepers are gone. Your expertise is the asset, and the tools are finally here to let you build your own empire. You now have the strategy and the toolkit. You have the formula for the idea and the workflow to bring it to life. The biggest barrier isn't technology, it's inertia. So I'm going to give you a one-night homework assignment that will break that inertia for good. The entire vibe coding framework we've walked through hinges on one single thing, translating your specific hard-won knowledge into a blueprint an AI can build. But where do you find that million-dollar idea inside your own head? How do you pinpoint the exact piece of knowledge that's worth a business? You stop looking for the idea. You start looking for the pain. Your homework tonight is to conduct a pain audit of your own professional life. The answer isn't in some flash of inspiration, it's already hiding in your daily frustration. Here's what you're going to do. Open a blank document, set a timer for 25 minutes, and for those 25 minutes, you're going to write down every single stupid, repetitive, annoying task you do in your job. Don't filter, don't judge. If it takes you more than 5 minutes and you hate doing it, write it down. Next to each one, write down the dollar cost if you got it wrong, or the number of hours it wastes every single month. When the timer goes off, look at your list. The task with the biggest number next to it, that's the painkiller. That's your first product. That $10,842 a month? It was born from a single line on a list just like this one. One frustration turned into a 3-sentence prompt. It's not magic. It's focused, profitable problem solving. The single biggest advantage in 2026 isn't your ability to code. It's your unique, irreplaceable expertise translated. Stop waiting for permission to build. Your first step to making money with AI without coding is that 25-minute list. Start it tonight.